donuts in the mountains with some fantastic trails. It doesn't get much better. Welcome to Riva Del Garda 2024. Let's see what's on offer. Now, you might have seen my colleagues over on GMBN riding the Propain e-Cano bike, which is 160, 170. But they've launched a new Sresh e-mountain bike, which is 150, 160 mil travel, with the option of having either a 29-inch setup, as we've got on this beautiful bike here, or with a 27.5 mix. At the heart of the bike is Shimano EP801, but the bike can also come with an EP600 as well. This bike on display here, €5,999, which makes it for a carbon bike with this kind of spec. It's got a Fox 38 up front, you've got a coil shock. This bike has actually got a new linkage, which you can see here, which is quite different to some of the older bikes. And I think the fact that it's got geometry change on it and the weight, a bike like this with coil and 38 comes in around about 20 kilos. So, I mean, what a banger. Raymon is actually owned by the pioneers of e-mountain bike, Felix and Susie Puello. They've got a new bike coming very soon in Q4. It's the Trail Ray 180, and this comes in two specs, the Ultra and the Pro. This is actually the Ultra bike with Fox suspension, 170 mil travel rear, 180 mil travel up front. And it's a coil, as you can see. Central to this bike is the fact you've got an 800 watt hour battery in the down tube and this Yamaha PWXM motor. Now the difference between the PWX3 and the PWXM is it's got a magnesium casing, but also the power delivery is a little bit different, and let's say it's maybe a little bit more spicy. A couple of numbers on the bike: 485 mil reach in size large, 64.5 degree head tube angle, 445 mil chainstay, and like I said, folks, this bike is going to be available in Q4 from some fantastic people who have actually brought us e-mountain biking, Susie and Felix Puello. So thanks to them. Well, we're at the heart of Garda Bike Festival, probably one of the primo locations. We're also at the centre of Trentino region. I'm joined by Oscar Schwarzer, who's the general manager of Garda Trentino. Oscar, thanks so much for bringing us to this fantastic region. Just to give you guys a geographic perspective, we're flanked by
many national parks. Just a stone throw away from here, we have the UNESCO World Heritage of the Dolomites in this direction. Over there, the same, flanked by beautiful mountains. And right here on this spot, on the very north tip of Lake Garda, at Riva del Garda, it's kind of, as we say, the melting pot, where the Alps meet the Mediterranean Italian lifestyle.
Not only that, it's probably one of the, it's a fantastic area for mountain bike trails, isn't it? I mean, the network here is probably it's probably equivalent to maybe like Whistler in Canada, right?
It's a different product we have here. It's a kind of pleasant riding when mountain biking here. All in all, our infrastructure has to offer more than 1,500 kilometers of trails. So we are one of the biggest resorts for bikers globally.
Wow. I mean, having personally ridden some of this terrain, I think the views over like Lake Garda up to the Dolomites, you've got Cima Tosa up here, the fantastic limestone outcrops. What's one of your favourite areas, would you say, for riding mountain bikes in Trentino?
My personal highlight is definitely going up, starting directly from Lake Garda, going up to the Ledro Valley, to Tremalzo. The scenery is quite fantastic. You start on 60 meters sea level, you ride just above Lake Garda, going up to the alpine context of the valley there, and then the view obviously on top of Tremalzo is breathtaking, and then obviously the downhill run back to the starting point is just fun.
And Oscar, what would you recommend as a great post-ride snack?
As we are in Italy, gastronomy is obviously a hot issue for us, and my favorite spot there is Rifugio San Pietro, and try the pasta.
Boom. Thanks, Oscar, for joining us. Now, the great thing about Garda Festival is you can get to test ride so many bikes. Now, we've come round to the Scott booth expecting to see dozens of the new Voltage tuned bike. However, they've literally all gone out, such is the demand for this bike. Let me give you guys a quick overview about it. Maybe you want to know the weight first of all. It's around about 18 kilos. It's obviously one of the lightest 155, 160 bikes on the market. TQ HPR50 motor at its heart, 29-inch wheels, 155, 160 travel up front. I think the great thing about this bike is the silhouette. I mean, it is so clean. And I don't just mean the front of house, which is as a mountain bike should be, but there's other things such as the fact that they've got the piggyback shock located in the heart of this bike. There's two things with that. First thing is it's super protected from the elements, and the other thing is that the center of mass on this bike with the low battery and the motor and the shock means it's a really well balanced bike. Craig, did I mention 29-inch wheels? Might have done. Remember, there's other bikes in the range. There's a Lumen, which is more of a, well, Ben, the Scott man, says it's more of a down country bike. That's around about 15, 16 kilos. Like I said, this is 18 kilos. This is the voltage tuned, which means it's got the multi-adjust on the shock absorber. But there's other bikes in the range too. And yeah, I think definitely one of the bikes I would really like to get my hands on to ride. Now we're going to turn our attention to what is arguably the nicest bike at Riva Del Garda show. Arguably one of the nicest e-mountain bikes of all time, with some fantastic tech on it. Obviously we've got the Pinion MGU drive on there. Let's talk about that to begin with. Now, we had a video with a Simple on not so long ago where it was my first ride in proper off-road conditions. Many of you commented about the noise. Let me reassure you that it doesn't sound as loud as it does on the video. That's possibly because of the direction of the mic. On the sound of the motor, now in gears 1 to 4 on the Pinion, those are the strongest motors. That's where the motor spins at the highest rate. So in the 1 to 4, it does actually make a little bit more noise than when you're in gears from 5 to 8. There's a lot less noise in gears 5 to 8. And then when you progress from 9 to 12, it's pretty much soundless. And that's something I didn't actually communicate on the video about a month ago. But folks, what about this bike? Saturn 16, 160mm travel. We're going to get the fine details from the Nicolai guys in a minute. I think that hydroform down tube, I mean, it houses a 760 watt-hour battery, arguably the neatest aluminium frame of its type with that amount of battery capacity in it. 29-inch wheels. It's got the belt drive on there. It's got Nicolai's own chain tensioner on there. But like I said, folks, I think the smartest, most highest tech bike of Garda show. Let's go and have a chat with the Nicolai guys. So we've just come to the Nicolai stand to qualify some of those numbers, which we were talking about over on Pinion. It is actually 160mm travel front and rear. It is actually available with a mixed wheel size as well. But get this, you can actually get it with a 960 watt-hour battery. And I think what is the great thing about Nicolai bikes is the sizing, fantastic sizing on the bikes. Talking about numbers, what about the numbers? So we've got a 77.5 degree seat tube angle, 64.5 degree head tube angle with a 170mm head tube length. I'll talk to Nicolai about that in a minute. 451mm chainstay, 495mm in size large. So some really good all-round numbers there for 160mm travel bike. We're going to join now by Vincent Stoy. Hopefully he'll come and join us. Vincent, Pinion MGU bike. It's got Nicolai's own chain tensioner on there. What makes this Pinion MGU bike different from any other?
I think we are the first brand who really integrates the MGU system in an alloy bike, and we also designed a real rear triangle according to the Gates carbon drive belt drive, which you can see basically.
I think the cool thing about this bike, Vincent, is you were telling me you started working on this bike at the beginning of the year, right?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, we first R&D started in like December, and then we started drawing and developing the geometry and all the CNC parts in January. Yes.
Do you think that actually gives you an advantage because you're able to react to things and you can be on top of things rather than have a run-in time with bikes?
Absolutely. We figure out, the CNC crew and the engineering crew, they are sitting like on the same desk, or they are the same people. So who else, if not we, are able to adapt solutions so fast?
Well, Vincent, I'm really looking forward to getting a ride on this bike. This one's the candy metallic red, right?
Yeah, that's right. And there are many other color options available, so you can configure the rainbow if you want to.
So there you go, folks, the Nicolai Saturn 16, which, like I said earlier, for me is the highlight of Riva Del Garda, if not one of the nicest looking e-mounted bikes of all time. Whoa, boy, would I like to take a spin on this beauty. Now, here's an interesting story. WP, multiple world titles in motocross. This GASGAS bike has actually got a steel frame. Lots of motocross bikes have got aluminium frames. I think that relationship between the suspension and the flex stiffness of the frame of a motocross bike probably has many parallels with mountain biking. Expect to see more of WP in the next few years. Incredible brand. Oh, we didn't have any walkthroughs. There you go. There's a walkthrough. Like I said, WP, expect to see more from these guys in the next few years. And here's the ECC bike. Now, the story with the ECC bike, a year ago, this bike was actually pre-production, and GASGAS took the bike racing. They won stages, they got on the podium, and then the bike was finally launched in September last year in the ECC 4, 5 and 6. I think it's one of the most stunning bikes looking in the e-mountain bike world. A new brand this year is Hepha from Munich in Germany. For me, definitely a standout bike from the show. 140, 150 mil travel. Now, Hepha have actually got their own motor. The motor, get this, comes in 80 Newton meters, 90 Newton meters, or actually the 100 Newton meter bike, which is behind me here. In terms of the battery capacity, obviously on the less powerful bike, you've got 720 watt hour battery, and we've got an 800 watt hour battery in the 100 Newton meter bike. And I've a quick chat now with Johnny Walker, Whack. Now, Whack, you've taken the bike out. This is a brand new motor.
Brand new motor. Yeah. Really impressed with the motor. Pulls from nothing, and the feeling of the motor, it pulls right up to the top end till it cuts out. Very, very powerful all the way through.
Sounds to me like you're impressed.
Yeah, very impressed with the motor. The eco was strong, the tour was strong, and you put it into turbo, especially with the larger motor, because they will go up to 100 Newton meter. That was really powerful in turbo.
It sounds to me like I need to go and get a spin on this bike, right?
Need to go and have a go.
Yeah. Okay, you guys want to know about prices? For $199 for the 80 Newton meter bike with a 720 watt hour battery, for $799 for the 90 Newton meter bike. But get this, the peak power, 750 watts peak power, which puts it as one of the most powerful motors on the market. Okay, let's wrap things up from day one at Riva Del Garda, a TQ. Now, this is actually the first ever hardtail with a TQ HPR 50 motor, 360 watt hour battery in the down tube with the option of a range extender. It's a Rose bike, it's the Bonero, 120 mil travel fork up front. I think it is, I got my own idea of hardtails, but I think it's one of the best looking hardtails out there. Remember, there's loads of full suspension bikes with HPR 50 motor. We've got the Mondrake and Neat beside us here, which is an equally stunning looking bike. So that's it from Riva Del Garda on day one. The rain has finally stopped, the sun's come out. Maybe we'll get a chance to ride some of those new motors out on the trails. But join us on Sunday where we look at, like I said, some new motors, new bikes and more tech.